Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Gym Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. How's everybody doing today? Hope you guys are doing well. It's nice to see all the smiley faces out there. For those who are watching live in the United States, so that we reach a global audience, United States, Canada, Africa, Asia, all throughout Europe, Australia. It's nice to see everybody. But for those of you who just celebrated Thanksgiving, as we did here in the United States, we are still recovering from the bountiful feast with family and friends. Always a beautiful time. We're still celebrating because this is at the time of this show. Again, this is live. So if you're watching this, in April of next year, it doesn't matter, but stick with us. You'll have a great opportunity to enjoy some great conversation, learn some things, and always be entertained on our show as well. But for those who are in the United States who celebrated Thanksgiving and still are this weekend, happy Thanksgiving. Hope you had a blessed time with your loved ones and friends, and maybe you still are. And we are. Usually our Thanksgiving goes into the whole weekend. And now we are officially in the Christmas holiday season. That's right. Hanukkah, I think, starts, this weekend, on Sunday. And then, of course, Christmas right nearby. And then here comes 2022. Like it or not, it's coming. And I think actually it'll be hopefully a beautiful year. We've all been looking forward we were looking forward to wrap up 2020, that's for sure. And 2021 has been okay. Let's bring on 2022 in style. We have a lot of cool things planned in store for you guys during the holiday season, some surprises and some special holiday themed shows and lots more. As we say, this isn't just like an interview show. This is a full out television show, a television series. It is an entertainment lifestyle variety talk show series, bringing back the lost art of conversation. Every episode is something different. Every episode is something unique. Every episode is something special. So we welcome everybody that's watching live, and we welcome those who watch later on in the archives. We appreciate that. And while you're there, don't forget to give this episode a like. That's right. Give it a thumbs up like. And all the episodes you enjoy, if you've been binge watching our series, some 550 episodes, give it a like and leave a comment on our YouTube channel as well. We would love that. That helps us big time. Really leave a nice comment for us. And so many of you have been doing that. We really appreciate that. When you do that, YouTube sees that and they blast this episode around the world even further. And while you're there, our YouTube channel is Gym Masters TV. We would love it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yeah. And click the notification bell so you never miss any of our incredible episodes, pop-up shows, holiday themed shows, special celebrity friends, guests of all backgrounds, live interaction with our lovely viewers who watch literally from around the world, and so much more. It's really cool to see all of you. Our special guest coming up in just a second is triathlete, as well as therapist and recovery trainer, Christine Ryan. She's normally in Newport Beach, California, where OC Athletic Massage and Training is headquartered. But right now, due to the Thanksgiving holiday, she's in beautiful Santa Barbara, California as well. And she's going to join us in just a second. And she is amazing at what she does. If you are wanting to get healthy, wanting to get in shape, mind, body, and spirit, because all of it is connected. Maybe you want to learn ways you can recover from an injury. We're going to see her demonstrate some incredible things as well for us. So these are some great things that you can start your new year with, some great tips and some great ideas that you can start today with as well. She's been doing this for a long time. She's really accomplished. She's excited to be here on the Gym Master Show Live, and we're excited to have her here. Let's chime in. We do like, since it's a talk show, to acknowledge some of the viewers, the Lovedies that are watching. Juanita is in South Africa, says, hello, Jim and Lovedy squad. Good to see you there in South Africa, Juanita. And Sherry's watching from Kansas live. Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a fantabulous weekend. We sure are. Thanksgiving weekend continues. And everybody's talking to each other, too. That's what's really cool. Everybody, they have these conversations with one another. And Craig is here, Ghost Rider 556. Aloha. He's in Hawaii as we speak. Yes, he's a big fan of our show. He spreads the word. He watches all the time. He comments. He writes to us all the time. He's a big fan. Long time no see, recuperating from COVID. Yes, he's had COVID, so he's been down for the count a little bit, but he's returning to good health. And that's great because theme of our show, health and wellness today, and mind, body, and spirit. So blessings to you, Craig, in Hawaii, one of our big fans, and I'm glad you're doing well. And it's nice that you're doing well. We appreciate you being with us too. Merlin is in Ontario, Canada. And good afternoon, Jim and all Lovedies. Good to see you, Merlin. And Craig says, so great to be back. So great to have you back as well, Craig. Always wonderful. And everybody again saying hello to each other. And let's see. Sherry Larson says, hi, Jim. It's good to see you. Good to see you as well. We were off just a couple of days for the Thanksgiving holiday and then getting a lot of shows ready. We have a lot of shows coming up between now and say Christmas time. You're drooling. Nice to see you, Sherry. And Juanita's drooling over all of our Thanksgiving dishes. A lot of leftovers. We were over at a friend's house earlier, and she sent me home with mashed potatoes, and she made this fabulous. Maybe I shouldn't let Christine hear these things. She could have said, Jim, drop those potatoes. The mashed potatoes, but everything in moderation, right? And broccoli pie. She made this incredible broccoli pie, my friend. We just came from there earlier today. We're going to be doing some things together, a new show together, actually, as well. I'll let you know about that. Some exciting new things we're going to be doing in addition to this series. It's definitely a reason to make and eat all the fantastic food. You are right. Merlin says all of her holiday decorations are done. Our main tree, the Christmas tree, the main one, is up. We got to start decorating our set here. But we're going to be doing that because, again, we are in the holiday season. Hey, we are excited to welcome triathlete, therapist, and recovery trainer Christine Ryan to the show. It's good to see everybody. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We really appreciate having all of you here. And it's so cool, to have you guys commenting, and be sure that you do that along the way as well. We really, appreciate when you guys are doing that. So guess what? Let me tell you a bit about our fantastic guest. We're going to have some great tips to stay healthy and improve performance, to get back to living, to really embrace life. We're going to focus on health, wellness, physical fitness, improving overall athletic performance through enhanced recovery, and embracing self-care. We talk a lot about always taking care of everybody else, but sometimes you got to take care of yourself as well. And triathlete, therapist, and recovery trainer Christine Ryan always knew she wanted to dedicate her life to helping people. And as a collegiate athlete with a BS in kinesiology, Christine knows that an active lifestyle can be demanding. With 15 plus years experience helping people recover and improve their athletic performance, that's been her passion. Christine became one of the top-rated sports massage recovery trainers in Orange County, California, owner of OC Athletic Massage and Training. And we're excited to have her here live and direct again from Santa Barbara, California, to chat more about all of this. Again, with the new year coming, got some great tips and great ideas, and also just to live a healthy life. We're very stressed. There's been a lot of chaos and a lot of crazy things that have happened, in the last year or so. So why not find a way to get healthy and to really balance yourself? We talk about that a lot here on the show. Balance is a really important thing in life, health of your mind, your body, and spirit. And Christine is all about that. She's joining us live from Santa Barbara, California. Welcome, Christine. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm excited to be a Lovedy now. Craig told me so much about it. So it's finally here.
Isn't that a cool thing to be a Lovedy on the Jim Master Show Live?
Yes.
There's all kinds of awards and accolades. And we usually say, if it's an actor or singer, we'll say you can get a Grammy, Tony, Oscar, Emmy, Peabody, whatever, a Tony Award. But when you get a Lovedy on the Jim Master Show Live, it's kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah. I feel accomplished.
Yes. Speaking of accomplished, you sure are, Christine, talking about, the early days for you growing up. Early on, you were really inspired to think healthy, live healthy, be healthy, and even a triathlete. Tell us about some of those early inspirations and how that sort of led to what you're doing today so successfully.
So, I started off playing softball. My dad played softball and he got me really into sports. And from there, I played softball for, I think, 7+ years. And then all the way into high school, I started playing volleyball because I'm 6'2". So that really took off and went in my collegiate years. But I had an injury and sustained an injury during that time. And I went to physical therapy, and that really is what inspired me to try and go for physical therapy. But the massage therapist really like got me from, oh, you'll probably never play again, to like all of a sudden going on a collegiate team again. So I really wanted to take that path and help other people do the same thing, because I remember how hard it was to just like the totality of like not being able to play a sport, like just it didn't sit well with me. I kind of got into that little depression, and just that one ray of hope like that somebody gave me, I wanted to be able to do that for other people. So played into the collegiate years, and you know, you have to keep yourself healthy because you don't want to get re-injured. That's like a very big, it's very big, like in your mental game, like, all right, well, I got injured, what happens if it happens again? So really making sure I took care of myself there. I got all the way through college, and then I realized physical therapy, at least in the United States, really wasn't what it was cracked up to me my first initial experience. So I stuck with being a massage therapist, and found alternative ways to kind of help ease my pain and help not re-injure myself. And that's when I found Eldoa. So really, you know, getting into the Eldoa and then the soma training, that corrective exercise, because like function dictate. I get really excited talking
I know
about
you're
that.
excited about, you're on the Jim Master Show live. Don't think about the millions watching. It's just
Okay.
us and some friends that are following along. That's usually, but actually, you know, in the training, being a television person, they always would train us to, when you're looking at the camera,
Hmm.
don't think about the thousands or millions of people that might be watching,
Hmm.
fabulous that they are. But when you're doing your thing, just
Hmm.
think about one person, like your grandmother or somebody that you care about and you love, and
Hmm.
you're just talking to that one person, and then suddenly
Hmm.
all that goes away, and there it is.
Yeah, we have to not only try and channel all of that energy into one
Channeling.
focus, yeah, channel it into one, like one source, and it's so easy to do that on the field, or like, you know, moving from a team sport to going into like a solo sport like triathlon.
Solo.
But you know, it's much different. This is much different.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, but like, you know, functional movement dictates the wait, now it's on my head again. I had it in my head. It'll come back to me.
Well, really, I'm fascinated about the triathlete part. I mean, that
Mhm.
requires a lot of stamina, focus, clarity, resilience,
Mhm.
dedication, blood, sweat, and tears.
Mhm.
Tell us about that. And for, you know, folks that are watching, even define it, you know, some of the things you had to do to be designated a triathlete.
Yeah, three different sports, training for them much different than one, and also that idea of having an explosive movement and like going all out for, you know, however long it was, like a rally. So like maybe a minute's the longest rally. And then making sure that you save your energy and translate that to, okay, well, I got through the swim. Now I have to make sure I can maintain my legs for the bike and the run. So it's much different. And then you have to really be in tune with your body. And that's why I think Eldoa goes, it goes hand in hand with Eldoa, because they talk about being in your body and being present and
Yeah.
knowing how your body is moving. It's called like proprioception. It's our sixth sense. So starting to kind of like look internally, and then knowing how to move and how to conserve energy, and how and when to
Yeah.
use it when you need to use it. So it's completely different, and I really enjoyed it. Like the first one I did was out in Colorado, and that was a sprint. And so that's the shortest one. You have a bunch of different lengths. So the first one's a sprint, the next one's Olympic, and then the
And
next one's
how
like,
long, like a sprint, like each of these things that you're doing in the triathlete realm, how
mhm.
long is each thing? How long do you have to go for
So
each sport?
a sprint is about, I'll say all of them like kind of together. So sprint for the swim, it's about 750 meters. For an Olympic, it's about 150 meters. And then it's a 1.2 mile swim. I wish for the half Ironman, I don't know the translation between meters. One part of math I didn't do well in. And then it's about 2.2 miles for a full Ironman. And then it's for the run, it's about 5 kilometers or 5K, 10K, 13.1 miles, and then 26.2. And then for the bike, it is, oh my gosh, I think I did that one kind of changes every once in a while, but it's like 17 miles, and then it's 24 miles, and then 56, and then 100 and 120.
So I would imagine with the Black Friday sales and all going on, your friends probably call you so they can tag along with you because you can get in and out, you can jockey, you can maneuver, get what you need, and get out quick in a split second, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's another thing. You have to work on,
You
like, the
apply that,
transition.
you apply the triathlete training to the Black Friday sales, get in and get out quick.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll have a little timer ready for him because yeah, the transitions, you gotta make sure that you have your card ready to go so you can have it
Let's
swiped
go.
and off to the next
Step it up.
destination. Yeah,
That is
yeah.
funny. So
Never
that's what
thought
I mean. What is the training like that for to prepare for? I have some friends that have done Ironman too, and other
Mhm,
marathons, New York City Marathon and more. I've done a couple of myself, but when you get into those real heavy duty ones, what's that training like? I mean, it's a real, as much as it is physical, there's a
mhm,
lot of psychological aspects
mhm.
to it as well, right?
Yeah, so we have, for the I hate to say it, but for the first one, I didn't train at all. I just
You
went
just went
and
right in.
you just went
Wow.
right in. It was sprint, so, like, I kind of I've done some 10Ks before, and it was just trying to get my feet wet, and there was a lot of mess ups, specifically, like, in those that transitional period of, like, going from I think I rented a scuba suit for my wetsuit. Those are a lot thicker
They
than
are a little
I was
heavier.
really
Yeah.
buoyant, but getting that thing off was kind of hard, and then also not knowing how to set my bike up because you could just hop on and then push with one foot, and then just start cycling and clip your foot in. Uh, the other thing was I had
Wow.
it in the highest gear. So that one was just kind of like figuring it out, messing up. And then the next one was I went from a sprint to an Olympic. Um, and then I trained a little bit more for that one, kind of, messed up again just with nutrition. And then I went to a half Ironman. And the training was, oh my gosh, I had Mondays off and then it was 6 days a week. So we had like sprint, like interval day for both your run, bike, and your swim. And then you had long distance for run, bike, and swim. So,
Wow.
yeah, so learning how to use those muscle groups all together. And sometimes they're called brick drills where you put them together one back to back, just so you can see how your body reacts. It was a challenge. I actually ended up getting pancreatitis because I fell off my bike. Because,
Uh, how
because
old were you when you started? Merlin in Canada was asking, may I ask, how old were you when you did that first triathlon?
let's see, I was 33. So yeah, I started when I was 33. I got into cycling because there's a bike race that I worked called the $1,000,000 Challenge in October, and it's from San Francisco, California, all the way to La Jolla. And just
Wow.
the cycling community was really like it was just really welcoming. And then you could do it at all ages. It's good for your knees and it's good for the cardiovascular system, muscles, everything. So just really welcoming. Everyone was wanted to like help you succeed. So yeah, that's how I kind of got into cycling. And then I have a fear of open water swimming. So it's one of those, let's do this to get over that.
So
Let's
does that
put it all
apply
together.
to, now does that apply generally to the ocean? Or is it the same way in lakes and
I wasn't nervous in lakes, like, especially with a bunch of people. I remember the first, like, open water swim I did, I just wanted to see how the suit worked and, how I was in the middle of this lake, and I'm like, "There's no one else around." Like, people's fish out here. I'm like, "I'm gonna get hooked." Like, your psychological thing, it starts to kick in. So, it was kind of a good experience to be out there by myself, to just be like,
right?
"Okay, you gotta get across this lake, like, just calm down, breathe," and, like, I'm very much jump in, see how it goes, and then kind of, you know, see what resources I have to like, breathing and like just
Counting on yourself. So
yeah.
you weren't thinking about depth, how deep is it or any of that?
No, no,
It-
no. I was like, it was just like I just had a panic attack out there, and I'm like, all right, well, you have yourself right now to get you across this lake, so you might as well just stop what you're doing and then get across the lake, and we'll worry about everything else
Because
afterwards.
you're less buoyant in lakes for sure, because it's fresh
Yeah.
water, or the ocean you float
Mhm,
because of the salt. So,
mhm.
so
You don't have
that
to
was
worry.
a mental situation for you, which worked out great in overcoming that then.
Yeah, yeah. I just some people figure out before, like like I'm gonna plan for this, I'm planning for this, but like I don't just sometimes you can't plan for everything, and I try
No.
to learn how to be quick on my feet. I've learned a lot of things afterwards now, especially with breathing, going into the Wim Hof method and going into cold. I'm not a cold person, but um, doing like a hot to cold like shower is one thing great for recovery. It's free, and you start having to get into your breath work. So like that's one thing that I've really started to love. I love doing it. Like I said, it's free after that. It's you get the shower right there.
Now, I keep hearing a lot of people are talking about these ice baths. They're going
Yeah.
into barrels of ice
Mhm.
cubes and
Yeah.
frigid water because that has some sort of positive benefit for
Mhm.
the mind, body, spirit, collectively.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna actually get one in my clinic here. Hopefully, like we're working on the ice bath, 53, 56 degrees. But I really like contrasting as a way to try and, if you're just gonna jump right in, like if you're crazy like me and want to jump right in, go for it. But it's a good transition to start getting yourself used to the cold and used to like that really quick like jump right in kind of thing. So like, and if you don't like it, if something happens, you can just turn the water right back up to warm and
Right.
warm yourself back up.
But there is something, I guess, there's
Yeah.
something
Wim Hof.
health-wise in terms of a beneficial
Yes.
result of the cold
Yeah.
water that does
Reduce.
something. Even a cooler shower is better than a hot one, they said, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I like contrasting more because like I said, not a fan of the cold. I know it has a lot of benefits, and I'm going to put it in my clinic. But just like I'm tiny, so we don't have a lot to insulate. So you have to get used to it. But reducing
So you
inflammation.
won't be moving to Montana anytime soon.
No, I'm a Cali. See, I'm a Cali girl. Like we don't know what that cold is like. But reducing inflammation is really good. Like really getting in tune with your breath. And yeah, I love being in the ocean. Oh, sorry, I was reading Maureen's comment.
Yeah, she's a nurse in Arizona, watches our show,
Oh, okay.
and, getting ready to retire too, and her daughter just got married
Oh,
2 weeks ago. I
wow.
love being at the ocean, but I have a healthy fear of it because I know it's mightier than I. So no
Mhm.
swimming in it, but standing at the shore brings me peace, which is really nice. I'm definitely an ocean guy. I swim it, surf it, boogie board it. I have a respect for it too. I know that it is mightier than me and it is, stronger than me and it's it's in charge. I'm not in charge, but I think it's the challenge, the respect that I have for it.
Mhm.
Uh and the beauty of it and fosters life and just all of the sun rises and sets and it does a lot for me. But it's funny. I lakes sometimes are a little strange for me, only because they're dark and they're rocky and mucky and deep, and it's just and you don't float.
Yeah. Hold your breath.
Yeah, yeah, you really have
So
to work. Yeah,
the ocean's really good though for marine. Like, I mean, just standing in it, even up to your waist, just helps increase circulation because the water pressure just pushes all that, blood back to the heart. And then the whole negative ion thing, like the water's
right.
churning and stuff. So it kind of helps with that playful spirit.
Yeah.
That's why people play a little bit more at the beach. And so, like, I mean, whether it be ocean or the lake, like both of them are good to be in, and especially if you have that fear, it's kind of one of those healthy fears.
Gets you over it, right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So great accomplishment being a triathlete, and out of that grew this passion for creating, the company that you have and,
Mhm,
really empowering and inspiring and motivating people.
mhm.
Um, Tell us the definition, or define for us a recovery trainer, which is what one of the hats that you wear there.
Yeah. So it's just structure dictates functional movement. Now I remember what it was. So
We
so,
we circled back on that one.
yeah. So structure dictates functional movement. So if you're not moving like as functional as you possibly can, then you're not going to get the power output. So that's kind of what I do a little bit. It has a little bit to do with recovering for the next day and making sure those muscle groups are ready to do the next activity. So it kind of goes into the triathlete training a little bit, but making sure that you actually have enough power to put one leg over the other and continuously doing it and making sure you don't re-injure yourself. So that's kind of how I got into Eldoa, which stands for longitude. It's a French acronym. So it stands for longitudinal osteoarticular decoaptation. So that's just a
Come
fancy
again? I know.
a fancy word for basically creating space in the joint and making
Great.
sure that everything is in balance within the body. So there's a few, we can even have you do one of these. I can guide you through a proprioception activity and people can follow along at home as well.
Do you do EFT tapping and a lot of that stuff too? I've interviewed a lot of
No, I
people
haven't done that yet.
where like there's certain trigger points, areas of your body. I've learned it from my professional work and interviews I've done on television, radio. So many
Mhm,
people are specialists in that. And the EFT is where, you can tap certain areas of your body that can actually help reduce stress. And say, for example,
mhm,
you're in the highway and somebody cuts you off and you're angry, you can tap certain areas that will actually help reduce that stress, which is
mhm.
the human body is really a fascinating machine, isn't it?
Well, I mean, everything is communicating at all times. So to put it into a same frame of balance or like a homeostasis, so everything works together. It's incredible how it can just really easily go into flow or out of flow. So I went to a chiropractor and they did that when I was had the pancreatitis, and then they were trying to help me release a stress necessarily that I had, even though it was from a falling from a trauma, falling off my bike, but still I was holding on to something from that. So, I mean, I do
Yeah.
think that's very powerful. And I think it takes a very special person to be able to tune into themselves. And I think that that has a lot to do with a lot of healers. Like you have to be able to tune into yourself. And if you're holding on to something yourself, then you can't be the best therapist you can. So we all release it in different ways. Mine is just always activity.
It's funny. You're also a renowned massage therapist. And when I go to one, and I need to go more than I really should just with my schedule, but I
Mhm,
always try to get in to do it. Um, they always say the same thing with me. They say, Jim, wow, you're holding in a lot of stress
mhm,
and you hold it in the same spot all the time. And I said, well, where's that? It's definitely not my fist, although maybe sometimes it should be. It's my shoulder blades
mhm,
when they're going in and they're like, "Oh my God, wow, you've got tight knots. You're really holding in the stress in just below the shoulder blades underneath when they go in. Like, oh, we need to loosen that up. That's really there's areas of our body where we do hold in the stress. Now, for me, I don't even realize that
mhm,
that's where it seems to be. Now I know why I really don't get any headaches. A lot of people get migraines and headaches when I don't really get headaches.
mhm.
Mine goes back there, I guess.
Everyone
Into
has
the
a spot. Like, I mean, it could be just you're in that fight or flight because you're always in that go, go, go. So when you do, go to relax or sit down for a moment, people actually don't even know how to relax. So they're still holding everything. If it's in your shoulders, you're kind of holding it up here, and it's a mechanism to protect like our vital organs and almost like our heart at that point. So they're kind of guarded. They want to make sure that they guard their energy. So learning how to switch from that fight or flight and going into that parasympathetic and finding what works for you, and especially a mechanism like just because it works for me doesn't necessarily mean it'll work for you. Um, and also creating the time to do it. Like I said, mine's in the shower. I can actually focus on my breath work, and then all of a sudden everything just starts to melt away. So whenever I'm trying to talk to anybody or like talk to a client one on one, I always want to make sure that whatever I give them is going to one work that for them, and two they're going to set aside enough time to do it. Because I mean that's the hard part is setting aside the time. Um,
Yeah.
Sometimes people it's just right before bed. Sometimes it's like right when you wake up. So creating that external cue to make sure, okay, I just need to take a second for myself and do what I need to do to almost like people call it recentering, but yeah,
Yes.
recentering, getting back.
Well, what about all this technology? We're glued to tablets and laptops and
Mhm,
phones and, still the television, of course, but all these electronics, that's really speeding up our mind and everybody's
mhm,
constantly checking their texts and their emails and their Facebooks and Instagram and just
mhm.
constantly looking at it and checking it and not knowing how to show it off and sometimes or shut it off. They know how to show it off, but they
Yeah,
don't know how to shut it off.
mhm,
I have to
yeah,
write that down. That was good marketing. Stop showing it off. Just shut it off for once in a while.
mhm,
Um, and make that the very last thing that they do when they go to bed is look at all that technology. And the very first thing they do when they wake up, even before they have the coffee or tea or water or juice,
Mhm.
it's to check all of that. You need to have some balance with that, right? I mean, it's
Mhm.
fabulous stuff to have. It's great to have the connection, the exposure, and all of that. But there needs to be a balancing. We're sort of in a shift where it's more this way, but we need to
Mhm.
balance. See, I try very much to do that. We're in this world where you could really be almost like an on-call doctor where you're 24/7
Mhm.
connected and have to respond and be there and check in all the time. And I do like times when we're disconnected and
Mhm.
we're at the ocean or we're over here doing this or visiting family and breathing, because I've always been of the mindset that why are we doing all this running around if it isn't so then we can have those times where there's joy and oceans and family and parks and
Mhm.
holidays and uh, there's got to be a reason for it all. How do you feel
Mhm.
about all this? That's the long way around to this question, but
Yeah,
which I'm known for. the
we get along great then, because sometimes
uh
I go full circle all the
yeah, so yeah, kindred spirits.
time. Mhm.
Um, the technology and some of the insanity that brings along the way too.
Well, I mean, I think also with 2020, really did make everyone slow down and rethink. And I mean, we were talking just before the show about rebalancing and how we can do the same amount of work or do the same amount of work that brings us joy, but also still know how to disconnect. And it's just creating those like cues, because a lot of people were in the habit. Okay, I wake up in the morning. Okay, I got to scroll, check my email, and do that. So they got in the habit of doing that. So it's just creating new habits. So, whether it's you're in line, you're at a red light or something like that. Maybe you're normally would get stressed out, and think like, oh my gosh, I'm running late. Just like kind of trying to think about it in a different way. And that red light is essentially your trigger to do that. And that's your time to do that if you're always in the car. So, I mean, I think technology is a beautiful way to communicate with everyone and connect, but at the same time, knowing, all right, like at a certain time, I'm going to shut off my phone. Like it's, 6 o'clock. I'm not going to take any more client calls or emails. So it's creating those habits, which are really hard to do or get out of.
So yeah, absolutely. What's your routine? How do you do it? Do you power down? Like I've always heard, you should really power down the
Mhm.
technology an hour, 2 hours at least before
Mhm.
you go to sleep. And also, um, is it blue light or red light? I
Blue.
think the
Yeah.
blue is what you don't want, right? You want
Yeah.
other
Blue.
lighting can actually start the falling asleep process.
It goes to I think it's the pituitary gland. It starts making blue light stops the production of melatonin. I'm pretty sure it's been a while since I went to school for that, but I think blue
It's the
stops the
blue
production of
that revs
melatonin.
everything up, right? And
Yeah,
it
yeah. Well, melatonin is the thing that starts the
which
like
is
winding down process, which you need that. So like I think the blue light blocks it in the pituitary gland, like is the thing that receives the blue light. So yeah, I think that, yeah, definitely stopping down, so, watching things. It's kind of hard to stop the scroll, but I have two little kids that make me stop and pay attention to them. So they're pretty easy and pretty convincing when they're just like ma ma
that's
ma.
a workout right there. What are their
Yeah.
ages?
The Reed just turned 11 on the 18th of this month, and Warren is 8. So they're all involved in all of their activities. So I'm pretty much, I take off the work hat at one point and stop checking emails and put on the mom hat and chauffeur and okay cook. Like, there's a video on there that they don't like broccoli, but I make them eat it anyway. I'm that mom. So yeah, those are my two little just I hate to call them distractions because that sounds bad, but they're my distractions from from things I need to be distracted from and pay attention to them. So that's one of my things. I try and get everything done closer to the morning, especially when they're at school. Thank
Yes.
God they went
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
I'm sure every
Exactly.
parent here can relate to that, but yeah, having the time to do that, and it's not always perfect, it's messy, and just like also giving myself the grace to like, all right, I do need to answer this right now, but like after that I'm done. So
Exactly.
yeah, creating a new habit and having my boys be my ones to to get me off the phone.
Now, as you and I were talking before we went live on the air, even a little bit in the introduction, we've been living in unusual times again at the time of
Mhm,
this show. And a
mhm,
lot of people have been home and a lot of people have been working from home, but a lot
mhm,
of people have been in these seated positions, sort of sedentary
mhm,
seated positions for almost 2 years now. And
mhm,
that has its gain, but it also has its drawbacks with the spine and neck and other area, your back, the whole bit,
mhm,
posture and just pain and everything else. Because you're not moving around, you're not going
mhm,
up the stairs, down the stairs as much as maybe in other times when you were in the office or on location, whatever it may be.
mhm.
So there are probably, I would imagine, people now that are experiencing carpal tunnel syndrome for being on the computers so much, neck, back issues, different things from being at home, being seated
Mhm.
for almost 2 years. I mean, if you can
Yeah.
get out and walk, if you can get out to wherever you can get some fresh air, it's still a very good thing to do.
Mhm.
But during the height of it, when everybody had to be socially distant,
Mhm.
people were home. Are you finding that a lot? Are you finding people now
Mhm.
complaining about various physical things they didn't really have to deal with earlier before this COVID situation, or they had it, but it was manageable, and now the back pain, the neck pain, or whatever, the arthritis is front and center because of the sedentary, staying at home, seated positioning.
I think it's both. I mean, when they got shifted to home, like not even having the chair that they had at work, or not having their desk set up, because even right now I had to make sure that I had something that's in line with my eyes, so I'm not sitting there looking down and typing away. Or even making sure that they got up because they wanted to get a drink of water, or just the social aspect of going to the water cooler or something, like, or the bathroom. They had their routine at work, and now all of a sudden it was much different, so they were moving much different or having a different setup. I think the stress of it all really like spiked probably into the summer, because I mean March is when we shut down. So I think I
Yeah.
saw, and I wasn't even working and then yet too. So just not even having the physical touch of my normal clients like took a toll. And I think then it kind of started plateauing and balancing out, and then going down. And it created different problems, and it solved some, and then it created different ones.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
figuring out how to take the best from both places, and holding on to it and trying to do that as much as possible, like, and living in that new normal. So I mean, I don't know if I fully answered your question, but
Well, do you hear people complaining about neck and back issues and carpal tunnel and stuff because they've been home on their computers, online, on Zoom, watching TV, just so much for 2 years straight?
I mean, at least in Southern California with the beautiful weather, people got outside, so
They
they
got
kind
out.
of
Yeah.
stopped doing that as much, and they had different, like, I think I had one client take up roller derby, and she quit her job.
Wow.
She was a waitress, and then she got a passion for roller skating and derby, and then started working at a place that sells roller skates, and they sold out pretty fast. So
Cool,
they
huh?
how to maintain them. So I think at
Is
least
she
in
on
Southern
Venice Beach
California,
now?
I know, right? I haven't gone up there yet. So I think people got a little bit more active, and then maybe that they had different aches and pains than they did before. But when they were working, just having to teach them how to set up their desk ergonomically, because they did have a little bit of neck pain and shoulder pain or arthritis and stuff, but it subsided when people got a lot more active. At least where I live.
Absolutely.
Mhm,
Tell us about we have some cool video of you doing some certain routines,
mhm,
and our audience watching right now, whether they're watching live or they watch this later, can get
mhm,
some really valuable tips from what we're going to show
mhm,
as we do this lifestyle episode of the Gym Master Show live. Um, Massage therapy really is extraordinary. I'm very familiar with it. Tell
mhm.
us about the different kinds. There's the typical Swedish, which we know about, but there's also the athletic and so many different kinds. And then I had something else. Is it shiatsu?
Shiatsu, yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I was laying down, face down,
Mhm.
and the massage therapist was actually, I think she was
Oh,
hanging from a bar
that's
and
all, yeah,
using
Ashiatsu.
Ashiatsu. She was
Yeah.
using her feet,
Mhm.
really with the feet. And wow, her heels. She had strong heels. I felt
Mhm.
areas of my body I never knew existed. She was really getting in there. The legs and everything. Ashiatsu, that's what it was. Tell us about the different kinds of massage, the benefits of massage as well, since you're in that world all the time.
Mhm. So you have like that lighter pressure massage. So you can have what's called I did it for a little bit when I worked at Montage. It's called manual lymphatic drainage, and it's very very light pressure, and it's all to push the lymphatic fluid back into the circulatory system. So some people that have had surgeries, um, they get what's called lymphedema. So it's just a swelling of one limb. A lot of people that get like breast radiation and stuff, their arm gets swollen. So it's just while that lymph node or that lymph is being redirected back into the circulatory system in a different way because those channels were destroyed, the arm swells. So there's lymphatic drainage. Really good for like pre and post surgery, or a lot of people that experience just any sort of inflammation we all do in our life. It's just whether or not we can get it back in quick enough. Or there's one that's a little bit deeper, which is just called Swedish. So it's a little bit more lighter pressure. You can use more, but it's all pushing the blood and back to the heart. There's like more deep tissue, so it's just deeper tissues, and there's a bunch of different ways to do that. So ashiatsu, which you experienced, it's like that long, slow stroke, and it's more fascial, which is a lot of stuff that I do myofascial. It's just she's doing it with her feet, I'm doing it with my hands. There is traditional Thai. So if you're like wanting to be a little bit more limber, you're fully clothed, and it's more about stretching. And they use the feet too. You're lying down on the ground. So it's like called lazy man's yoga. So there's a bunch of different modalities that you can use. It just kind of depends on like what you're looking for and what you think that you benefit from. So those are all the ones that I know and I'm familiar with. You have acupuncture and acupressure. That's more about balancing out certain energies. And then there's Reiki where they don't even touch you. Same thing, that's more for that energy balancing out. You know, some people call it chi, some people just call it the inner meta, all throughout the body. And then people actually feel, even though they're hovering over them, they actually feel like energy and motion. It feels like, I think somebody said it was more electric. So it just kind of depends on like everything that you want to do. Sports massage, like it's a little bit more herky jerky, waking up the muscles and then kind of like almost WD-40ing those joints. So
Right.
you're prepping yourself for athletic activity.
That's
So
cool. That's
yeah,
cool.
that's
Have you done acupuncture or acupressure? Have you ever done any of that yourself?
I only had one experience with acupuncture. I worked in an acupuncturist clinic, and me and organs. I don't know. You know, it's funny. I'm like sitting here as a as a lifestyle like health coach. I'm like, yeah, pancreatitis, and I had a kidney infection. But she actually put I was like, I was actually at work, and I'm like, okay, something's not right. We got to stop. And then I didn't know what was going on, and she just like put a needle in, and then like immediately started shivering. So it was really interesting that it was that immediate reaction, and then
Immediate reaction.
yeah, it's that balancing of energy. There was too much energy, and it was almost like it was being released, and that's the only way I can describe
Did
it.
it help you?
Um, you know, hard to say because I went right to the ER, and I got antibiotics for that one. So
Right after,
I mean, it
yeah.
was just, yeah, it was an experience. So, one is anecdotal, I guess you can say. So it's like I would like to say yes, but sometimes
It's case by case, right? Everything is in the individual. We never know how we're going to respond to things.
yeah,
You know, it's an individualized situation.
yeah. I
Um,
had a lot of people with that have had allergies, and they went to an acupuncturist, and it really worked wonders. Or migraines, like the
yeah.
two balance out together.
Actually, my sister did,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it helped her because they had moved to Florida, so there was a different atmosphere than from the Northeast,
Mhm.
and it did help her sinuses. It did help the
Mhm.
allergies, which is amazing with that.
Yeah.
What about diet? Are you vegetarian or vegan, or how does it
I
work for you?
so I tried when I was training for the half Ironman. I was trying to do keto. I don't know why I was trying to do it. I heard it was good. Um, my body likes carbs. I think it's all to the individual. And I mean, I don't. Like I said, I think the bike fall the athletic part of me was like, I needed to hit that personal record. Like I was almost at 18 miles an hour on my bike ride. I'm like, I need to make sure it happens. And I didn't slow down around a turn and fell down. But I don't know if the keto, the high protein really helped me. Like I said, my body likes carbs. So I think, like you said, like you were saying, everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Don't be eating. Some people do well on hamburgers, I guess. I don't know. But I lean more towards the, I like my veggies.
So
My,
yeah, I love vegetables too. I'm lucky. I always loved vegetables.
mhm,
A lot of, especially kids, I don't want the
mhm,
vegetables. I love them all. Matter of fact, it's kind of unusual. There's certain things you don't like when you're a kid that
mhm,
you find yourself liking later on. My
mhm,
sister and I liked tomato paste, tomato sauce, tomato soup, tomato juice, spaghetti sauce,
mhm,
marinara, all of that, but not the tomato off the vine when I was a kid. It was
mhm.
just seemed fleshy and seedy and watery and acidic. It just didn't taste like spaghetti sauce.
Okay.
But now I like them. If they're on sandwiches or in salads,
Mhm.
no problem.
Yeah.
Bananas too. When I was a kid, bananas just didn't I didn't I liked grapes and apples and other things, oranges, but just the
Mhm.
bananas never, maybe because they were mushy texture, who knows. Now I love them. Now I love
Mhm.
bananas. Isn't it amazing how it all changes?
Yeah,
you
our
know
taste buds definitely changed, and, like, I'm always of the mindset of when in doubt, refer out. Since I have, like, this much background in nutrition, like, I'm not a
I like that. When
dietitian.
in doubt, refer out.
Yeah, like, I
I
mean,
like that. I'm going to use that.
I
I'm in doubt, so refer out.
yeah, because I'm not a dietitian or nutritionist, like, I know what works for me, and then, like, I know a lot of people, hopefully in my community, like, don't chastise me for this, but, like, I know people are like, "Oh, well, it's all natural." I'm like, "Well, just because it has the word natural in it doesn't
Mm,
necessarily mean it's good for you because
some of that's branding and marketing.
arsenic is natural, so, like, why not
Yes,
have that?"
right.
So,
Or everything's organic, like,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
The toothpaste is, and this is, and that is, and okay.
or just
Um,
like, I mean, there were doctors that were also sitting there saying cigarettes in the 50s were good. So, like, I mean, I think we are always evolving and always learning
yeah,
more, and everything is ever changing. So,
right.
it's always going back to you're your own best therapist.
Exactly.
what do you feel like? I mean, do you feel like when you drink dairy, you're bloated? Maybe not drink dairy and maybe that's a problem. So you can go to those oat milks and almond milks. I like almond milk. It's just I like the way it tastes better. It's not that it doesn't agree with me. It's just I like the taste of almond milk, and
I
that's
use
kind of how
almond milk too. Yeah, almond milk.
yeah. So
Because I watch cholesterol and all of
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So I'm yeah. When in doubt, refer out in the whole the doc going and doing a thing with the doctor, making sure. I also question my doctor too, so they don't like me always.
Yeah, I'm a
I
great
question everyone.
patient too. I'm like, like, if you're gonna poke prod, whatever, let's just do it.
Mhm,
Like to know how my body's operating and what's that little
mhm,
thing I'm feeling there, or what's that
mhm,
sensation there, and let's figure it out. And I'm not good for chronic. I don't I want to, like, anything that's chronic. I'm like, can't we get rid of it? And they're like, Jim, that's why they call it chronic, whatever it is, anything in life. I always like to
mhm.
get rid of chronic. But
Yeah.
sometimes people, and I'm sure, have some clients where they're dealing with something that's chronic.
Mhm.
And when it comes to, like, recovery,
Yeah.
um, chronic can be something that they have to deal with the rest of their lives. So it's a matter
Mhm.
of, it's quality of life, right? The
Yeah.
bottom line is quality of life. That's
Mhm.
important. And you help people achieve that through
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah, because it's I mean, people are sitting there, they start riding their bike, and then all of a sudden because they like the daily movement and it makes them happy. It's kind of like their mind therapy. And all of a sudden they come in with a hip pain. So it's like, okay, well, we can't get it back to, like, when you were invincible, falling off your bike, not getting damn pancreatitis. Um, but we can get it so you can actually enjoy it. So, like, what can we do and how can we change things so you can, one, keep doing what you love, and two, not be in chronic pain all the time. So it's just creating that joint space, and then, like, and some people want to avoid injury or surgery, like if they have
Yeah,
one, it's hip replacement or stop writing, and, like, okay, there has to be some sort of in between there, and I'm kind of that in between and getting quality of life for as long as humanly possible so they can do what they love and enjoy.
absolutely. We have some wonderful tips here in this little video series.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to share some of that. Now, these are things that people can do even today, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I tried to create this one when like COVID was first happening, and it was like you said, shifting into like being at home and maybe a little bit more sedentary or like just not knowing how to set up everything. So I tried to create a full body one and one for that everyone can do. Because specifically with a lot of these Eldoa stretches, they're very intricate. It's internal rotation of the hip, pseudo inversion of the foot, and pushing away, making sure your belt buckles forward, double chin position, axial extension. So I like to do those ones one on one, those specific stretches one on one. But these ones you can kind of do in between and learning how to move the body and getting that WD-40 in there. So, the joints move right and having that functional movement. So that's why I made this full body kind of stretch routine and tried to make it 15 minutes because, sometimes people don't got a lot of time to do that. I can give you all the stretches in the world. And if you don't have time to do it,
But if you don't have the
it's
time,
not going to happen.
so you've made it where it's doable for people. Busy day, crazy schedules they may have, but it's doable,
Yeah.
which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Let's call that up. We've got it here. Now, this one is roll downs. Tell us about what roll downs are.
So it's just trying to like really focus in on moving the spine in each segment, like little by little. And like, okay, it's like, all right, I'm focusing on C1, C2, C3, C4, like, and just kind of being able to articulate each joint as it's supposed to move. So, and then tucking the tail and rolling back up and trying to be like more, the theme is more present in your own body. So that's just kind of warming up the spine, which it also is really good too because it helps all of your nerves fire to your organs in time. So if you're having some stomach digestion problems or something, maybe there's something stuck around L3, L4, and you can kind of feel it, and then maybe that kind of might help alleviate some of those problems.
Absolutely. Let's
And it's
take a
easy to do.
Yes, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
Let's take a look at some of that now, and people can get some great tips and things of that nature,
Mhm.
starting with exercise one. You ready, everybody? All around the world. She's going to put you to work now. This is interactive, not just
Mhm.
commenting, but you got to do these things for your own health and well-being.
Mhm.
Time to roll
Thanks.
down together.
Begin by standing with your feet shoulder width distance apart.
I even got pedicure for this too.
Slightly bend your knees, tuck your tail, and roll your shoulders back. Begin looking down to the ground as you start tucking your chin to your chest. Drop your neck, your shoulders. Visualize rolling down one vertebrae at a time, rounding your spine instead of hinging at the waist, and keeping your back straight. As you roll down, slide your hands along your thighs. Pay attention to areas that may feel a little sticky as you go down as far as you can. Rest at the bottom for 5 to 10 seconds. And as you begin to rise, tuck your tail stronger to support your lower back. Again, imagine lifting one vertebra at a time. Make sure that your neck and head are the last to rise. Now we're going to roll down again, but this time we're going to reach towards the outside of the right foot. As you roll down, notice whether you're placing weight on your feet. Are they over the arches? Has the weight shifted back onto the heels? Tuck your tail again as you begin to rise. Last time rolling down and reaching towards the outside of the left foot. After the third time, have you felt an imbalance on either side? Has it become easier, and have you been able to reach further down to the floor? Stand with your feet wider than your shoulders. Point the toes slightly inward. Tuck your tail and bend the knees slightly. Make sure when you bend them, they move forward and are not caving inwards. Rise the arm out to either side, palms facing up to the ceiling. Flex at the wrist and spread the fingers wide. Drop your shoulders down your back. Start moving your upper body to the left as one unit. Your shoulders should be even. When you reach your max range of motion, shift your body to the right. Take note if you have more range of motion on one side or the other. After 5 on each side, as your body begins to open up, see if you can reach further to the left or to the right. Start in a seated position with your knees bent at 90 degrees and spread your legs to make a V. Tuck your tail a few times to find your sits bones. Stop when you're sitting up straight and on top of your sits bones. Flex your ankle. While keeping your pelvis stable, externally rotate your leg so the outside of your knee is getting closer to the ground. Work to your range of motion, as you might not be flexible enough to get your knee to touch the ground. Now, as you rotate your leg back up, reach your pelvis backwards so you don't begin walking forwards with your bottom. Once in the starting position, rotate your leg internally. Continue to rotate your leg internally and externally 10 times and switch to the other leg. Now we're going to do both legs at the same time. You can let your pelvis move a little more. Knees might be able to make it further down to the floor. Repeat 10 times on both sides. Staying in a seated position, bring your feet in line with your sits bones. Knees fall out to the side slightly, so they're wider than your ankles and wider than your hip bones to help turn off the psoas muscle. You can either place your hands on your shins or on the back of your thighs. Sit up as straight as possible and lean back 20 degrees. Tuck your tailbone back under so you're sitting on the back of your sits bones. Inhale fully, and on your exhale, begin rolling down to the top of your sacrum touches the floor. Pull yourself up while trying to maintain the exhale until you reach the starting position. Roll down again just a little bit further. You can also imagine a sword stabbing your belly. The belly is pushing the tailbone towards the floor and is pulling the sacrum. Your sacrum is pulling your lumbar spine. Roll back up and repeat 8 more times. Get into the bottom of a lunge position with your knee on the floor and your opposite foot forward. Find a balanced and stable position. Your foot can be further out than your knee. You can use a block to place your back foot on if you're not as flexible, or use your opposite arm to grab your ankle of the kneeled leg. Tuck your tail strongly. Lean forward about 20 degrees. And stretch your free arm up above your head. Flex your wrist and splay out your fingers. Hold for 30 seconds. Release your foot slowly and lower your leg to the ground. Repeat on the other side. Lay on your back with your feet flat on the floor with a neutral spine. Bring your knee in towards your chest and interlock your fingers behind the knee. Flex your foot and point the toes towards your head. Straighten your knee, but don't let your thigh move away from your chest. Hold for 2 seconds and bend the knee again. Repeat 10 times on each side. For this stretch, you'll need a padded chair. Keep your knees and feet hip-width distance apart. In a kneeling position, reach your fingertips towards the chair so that your fingertips barely touch the chair. Tuck your tail and curl your toes under. Place one hand on the chair and then the other. Now place your elbow on the chair and then the other elbow with your arms crossing over each other. Your body will naturally begin to bend forward at the hips. Try to maintain a straight spine by tucking your tail and getting into double chin position. Move your body forward so that your collarbone is over your forearms. Draw your shoulder blades down and away from your ears while maintaining a straight spine from head to tail. Now start shifting your weight backward, maintaining your straight spine. As you shift backwards, make sure you're not dumping into your shoulders. Repeat 10 times. Laying on your stomach, turn your head to look to the right. Point your toes in, heels out, and tuck your tail to activate the lower body. If tucking your tail hurts, you can place a bolster under the hips to protect the lower back. Place your palms in front of your head, fingertips touching slightly, and then extend the arms from the elbow into a wide position. Bend your right elbow so the palm is flat on the floor. Your wrist should be under your elbows and in line with your shoulder. Externally rotate your left shoulder, flex the wrist, and extend the fingers wide. As you press your left shoulder into the floor, push the right palm into the ground slightly, rotating the thoracic cage. Push strongly through the left palm away from your body. Hold for 30 seconds. Release slowly and repeat on the opposite side. Stand with your feet wider than your shoulders. Point your toes in slightly. Tuck your tail and bend the knees. Place your right hand on the top of your head, palm facing up towards the ceiling. Externally rotate your left arm at the shoulder. Flex your left wrist and spread the fingers wide. Make sure you don't do a side bend here. Your rib cage should be above your pelvis. Start pushing your right elbow towards the ceiling and your left palm down to the floor without creating any rotation. Take a deep breath and pick a point on the right side of your body and begin pushing it away from you. Hold for 30 seconds. Slowly release and switch to the opposite side. Start in a tabletop position, hands under your shoulders and knees under your hips. Shift your weight onto your hands so you move into a push-up position. To maintain a straight spine, tuck your tail and make a double chin position. Now reach the crown of your head towards the wall in front. Think of lifting the base of your skull forward. Push your palms strongly into the floor as you lift your shoulder blades up, almost rounding your back up to the ceiling. Hold for 2 seconds and drop the shoulder blades and chest to the ground. Hold for 30 seconds. Repeat 2 more times. I hope you enjoyed this stretch routine. While it is nice to
It's really fantastic, really great stuff. 10 good, routines. And So you were seeing some of the comments coming in too, um, and maybe you can answer them as they're coming along. Like Kathleen in New York City says, "I could get down, but have a heck of a time getting back up."
Especially on the ground, what you can do is you can do some of these things while seated. It doesn't necessarily, or you, if you can put like a, like blankets, like firmer blankets, not necessarily pillows underneath your bottom. And then that way you don't actually have to be so far down to the ground, and it alleviates some of the pressure. And then I tried to show, at least if you're laying on your belly, having something like a bolster or a pillow underneath, because it really helps you tuck your tail and protect that lower back. And then you can also just do tail tucks. It's not necessarily like you could just get down into a position. Hold on, let's see. I guess I didn't show it too well. I'm gonna move you back. Let's see. So when you're on your knees, you're not necessarily right on top of the kneecap. You're rolled forward a little bit more. So you're on the top of the knee, right where that quad is, kind of connecting in. And then you can kind of start with your leg here. You don't actually have to get it all the way close to your butt. The reason I don't like the standing one is because it allows people to kind of cheat a little bit and then really arch their lower back and put their lower back into what's called kyphosis. We'll strip down a little bit. I wear a shirt underneath just in case. So it really allows you to have that anterior pelvic tilt and then not be able to get a full stretch in this quad here. So really focusing, if you're standing, tucking that tail as much as possible. And the bonus, it's like an instant tummy tuck. It gets nice and flat. So those are kind of like my little tips. And if you feel any sort of pain, tingling sensation, definitely stop. And then there's always a way to regress things.
Like Jen Barry in Allentown, Pennsylvania says, my severe back scoliosis can't turn certain ways. Pain overload. Hope works for other people, though. How about if somebody does have situations like that and they want to do some of these things to stay fit and healthy?
I would definitely suggest doing the double sided ones. With scoliosis, you never want to do a lot of rotation, and also single arm exercises, because both sides are different, and you're trying to balance both of them out. So trying to find all the ones that are all single arms, I would admit those, versus doing a double arm exercise, and less weight, because you don't want to put compression down on the spine to make it worse. So light body weight and double arms probably for scoliosis.
Juanita in South Africa says, I hurt my knees in the gym a few years back and still struggling to do anything that requires me to stand on my knees.
So, I mean, there's plenty of exercises that you can do on the floor with just body weight. And then also making sure that you can decompress. A lot of people that injure the knees, if it's not an injury that came from a sport where they kind of went from the side, and ACL, LCL, it's a functional problem that's above or below the joint. I had some sort of knee problems when I was running, but it was because I didn't have a lot of range of motion with my ankles, tiny little feet. And I've rolled my ankle so many times. So once I started working on my ankle mobility, my knee pressures and pain started alleviating. So just kind of looking and seeing one above or below the joint, maybe what's going on, and trying to fix those and focus on those. And then really working on something like you could go swimming or something, or the floor exercises like I recommended.
Those are great suggestions. Absolutely. Jane, who's watching in Sweden, says, I've got, let's see, from her physiotherapist, a program with lots of, train movements to do in a warm water pool for my rheumatism. It's so good.
Yeah, warm water pools are great. We were kind of talking before, specifically with the ocean, just that water pressure and it moving all the fluid out from the joints. Water is amazing things. There's so many great water therapies out there. So that's awesome.
That's a good one. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Craig has come to you as a client, right? He's had a lot of different things he's had to deal with in his life, and he's now getting over COVID there in Hawaii. Can you show us the simple exercise to relieve stress on your neck while driving?
Let's see.
Good question, Craig.
So I do this when I'm at red lights. I mean, I kind of mentioned the red light thing before. I was one of those road rage Southern California people. So I had to turn a red light into my form of therapy. Once again, trying to find real places to do these things and making sure that you do them. When I was driving, I was always like this, like all 10 step. So all you kind of have to do is get in, I know it sounds like a bad thing, but double chin position. So you're just shifting your neck back. And you see, I got this lovely double chin. What it's doing is actually strengthening all the muscles in the anterior neck, which is supposed to be holding up my head. And it's stretching all these suboccipital muscles back here. The one thing I want to make sure that is you're supposed to have curves in your spine. So I want to tell people, like, when you're doing this, I can flatten my spine pretty well. Now we don't want to reverse our cervical curve, and you can kind of get your fingers and then press along the back here, and you can feel those little bumps. They're called spinous processes. And if you feel all of those in line, you just slightly lift the chin up, and then your curve comes back. So holding that for 10 seconds, you don't want to like over stress out these muscles, but holding it for 10 seconds and relaxing kind of got me from going here to like happy person.
Wait a minute. Are you even allowed to say double chin in SoCal?
Yeah, I know that.
Shh, don't tell anybody.
Yeah. Well, and then also, so double chin position, and I forgot to mention axial extension. So you can kind of put
Very
your hand
important.
on the top of your head, and it's like you're not actually, you're growing taller, but you're not. So you're
Yeah,
pushing your head up to the ceiling. So I know a lot of people that do yoga imagine like a single strand of hair being lifted up to the into
you're
the
right.
cloud. So also do that and it will decohapt at the vertebrae. So it kind of reverses all the job gravity does.
My mother had mentioned that my great grandmother, who was originally from Sweden, and they lived in Boston, Massachusetts, and then into Connecticut, they used to teach all of the kids, the grandkids.
Mhm.
She used to teach them posture by having them walk with a book balanced on their head.
Mhm.
That's an old school way to do it, right?
Yeah, and then I know there's a lot of people that when I'm analyzing posture, I have to tell them to first march in place because they'll sit there in this like almost military-esque stance, and I'm like, one, that's not how you normally stand, and two, a lot of people do the reverse. Like normally they're here, and all of a sudden they're puffing up their chest, but what they're doing is extending the mid back and also the lower back, which can cause a lot of other problems. So just standing in this posture isn't perfect. There's a lot of things that can happen with that. So I just, what's the best posture for you? What is the best? Like, because everyone is different anatomically. So you really got to make sure that, like, when you're doing these kinds of things, you're doing it to your body and not somebody else's body.
Exactly right. Yes. It's Kathleen in New York City says most is the so because of the bad back. So the bad back she mentioned a couple
Mhm,
of different times.
mhm,
And then Merlin in Canada, while you're doing, are you breathing? So those exercises that we saw, they look
mhm,
so serene, but
mhm,
you were breathing a certain way, right? You were definitely breathing during them.
mhm.
She's wondering if you were breathing and how were you breathing? Was it a measured breathing?
In the nose, out the mouth. You try and do 30 seconds. Like I'm still working on my lung capacities. So
Yeah.
even with triathlons and stuff like that. So to go for 30 seconds, but go to what you feel comfortable with. I think I was trying to do about 15. That's normally what I'm capable of doing in the nose, out the mouth, and it's more of a belly breath, not like a chest breathing. And you can kind of do something like lying down on the sides, on the ground, like practicing this before. Put your hand on your chest and hand on your belly, and just breathe and see if your hand on your belly is raising or the hand on your chest is raising. So you can kind of do it before, and it's almost like it's like a practice round for
Oh,
for breathing because
right,
sometimes a lot
right.
of people go and then their chest cavity rises and it's like it has to kind of be both. So
Wh-
yeah,
What are
15
the
seconds.
what are some of the common things you see that people do in their everyday life that end up causing a lot of the problems that end up having them come to somebody like you? Like, for example, I always find myself, I've been at restaurants where we're all seated at tables or
Mhm,
even in a diner where there's booths,
mhm,
and I'll be comfortable. So I'll be more like this, sort of
mhm,
slouched,
mhm,
because it feels comfortable to be slouched and just seated where I'm slouching and I'm not even aware of the fact that I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll sit up straight and all of a sudden I'm the height that I really am. Because when you slouch, all of a sudden you cut inches off your height.
Uh-huh.
But sometimes I've said, gee, this upright doesn't feel as natural
Mm-hmm.
or comfortable being like this the way you should be, actually, especially when you're sitting in a chair, a computer chair, the lumbar, everything. You should have something behind you, keep you
Yeah.
straight. When you're driving in the car for hours, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, my common position, and I've caught myself doing it on couches,
Mm-hmm.
booths and chairs at restaurants like that, because it seems more natural and comfortable, but
Mm-hmm.
not such a good way to do it.
No. So what you want to make sure is that you have a good base of support, and at all times, I was kind of talking about with your feet, in that video, is just making sure that your arches aren't caving in or moving out. So because everything's going to trickle upwards and follow. So now when you're seated, you want to make sure that you have a good base of support for the shoulders and the head. So it's just doing those tail tucks. So you can kind of like sit there in that booth and just rock your hips back and forth. Imagine like you have a bowl, and then that bowl is like your pelvis. So you're just rocking forward and it's like water spilling out of the front of the bowl. That's an anterior pelvic tilt. And then also spilling back. And then the water's going out behind you. Now there's these two little bumps on the bottom where your bowl's supposed to be seated so the water doesn't spill. And those are called your sits bones. So you kind of just tilt back and forth and find them. And then it actually naturally trickles up where you have a better base of support for the lumbar spine, for the thoracic spine, and for your shoulders and for your head. So it just kind of moves, and it's like I keep saying the WD-40 thing, but that's a WD-40 for your sits bones. You can also see if you have a wallet, like if you're seated on either side. So like, some people, they come to me for shoulder problems. Well, it stems from their hip, and they have a wallet, and they're always hiked up on this one side. So kind of
you'll laugh, but we were
back and forth. I'm always moving.
No, that wallet thing happened to me. We were driving from the Northeast, from the New York area
Mm-hmm.
to Florida, and I had a wallet in the back of the pants on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
So driving and driving, and I'm like, why am I feeling this tingling? Why does it feel like my leg is falling asleep? Why does it feel like I'm getting numb with my, not the thigh, the lower legs, the calf, the feet felt just like they were going to sleep, and there was tingling and everything. I'm like, are you guys, I know we're driving for like 21 hours and we're stopping here and there, but are you getting any of that? And they're like, no, but we can stop for the bathroom if you want, Jim. But it was more feeling like there was, and one time I tried it in the left side and it was the same thing. I was getting that. And it was the wallet pressing, like you're saying, pressing up. It's being seated for that long in that position. The wallet was pressing in to a point where it was shooting nerve reaction or whatever to the rest of the leg below the knee to the feet, making it want to feel tingly and fall asleep. So I said, you know what, next rest stop, I'm taking this wallet the heck out of my pants. And it went away. And it went away.
Yeah. And I mean, even if you're the driver, you have your right foot that's always kind of like tensed up going from side to side. That's why it's nice to hit that cruise control, especially if you're not in traffic and you're moving along. So, and
move the feet around to get the circulation going, which is really important, right?
Yeah. So if you notice, I'm always kind of like,
I noticed that. Yeah. So she's ready to rock and roll.
I don't know if that's a no-no in the entertainment world. Yeah, you're supposed
to. No, you're ready to rock and roll.
Right? I like, so it just, I mean, always keeping moving.
You'd be great on cruise ships.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's really what you're basically saying is movement. We have to move our bodies, because some of us, you think, gee, the most perfect position is to be not straining your body, to be seated, to have everything at rest. But the sedentary lifestyle, they said, what did I read recently? They said a sedentary lifestyle could be as bad, if not worse, than cigarette smoking.
Yeah, I think I saw that one.
That's like that's big. That's
Mhm.
recent, and that is huge, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's just, I mean, I know medicine is medicine, but also movement is a form of medicine. So it's just, what ails you, and how can you create that functional movement to help your life, like, and just kind of live a little bit
Yes.
more healthy and a life worth living, kind of. So.
Juanita says, great tips and advice. Thank you, Christine.
Welcome.
And Maureen in Arizona, this is so great. I really appreciate the complimentary PT session.
You're
She
welcome.
loved it as well. And the website, tell us about the website and things of that nature too.
So it's ocathleticmassage.com. And that way, I mean, if you live in Southern Orange County, then, definitely book a session with me. I also do work one-on-one online. Thanks to COVID, I kind of revamped how I do things, and you don't actually have to be in the Southern Orange County to work with me. I also have a lot of my tips on Instagram. So that's OC_AMT. And I probably should get better about posting on Facebook. I posted this on Facebook, so
Thank you.
I think it's OC Athletic Massage, or you can search Christine Ryan under like CMT. So
Perfect.
those are my social media platforms. But I'm going to
That's
be
it.
better at Facebook.
Well, what it is, it takes so much time. Even me, I'm so busy with all the things I've always done and continue to do. And then I added this series,
Mhm.
and now you're like, oh my God, there's these other things that you used to be able to do that you can't spend as much time on because you have all this other stuff going.
Mhm.
But taking time to smell the coffee and breathe and stretch. And you know what? One of my favorite things is I love when I'm pulled, when somebody takes my arms and pulls them, and somebody takes my feet and
Mhm.
just stretches me out, and that total
Mhm.
pulling, just keep going, keep stretching, keep stretching. I absolutely love that.
Maybe we should invent one of those old medieval like torture devices for you where they pull the horses. It's like traction. It's perfect.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. This was absolutely fantastic. What would be now the holidays are here,
Mhm.
and I know you have to get back to the sessions that you have going on, but what would be a couple of tips for getting through these holidays? Again, for people that are watching now or any time of the year, if they're watching this in June of next year and there's no holidays, still just getting a couple of things that we could apply today when it is holiday time or when we are celebrating and there's food and we sort of go off the exercise wagon and then we put all that pressure of, okay, I'm going to make a New Year's resolution
Yeah.
that I'm going to rearrange my entire world by January 1st. And of course, that never really happens for most people.
Mhm.
What would you suggest are a couple of cool things to not stress out about the holidays and life in general, and that they can apply right now to their lives to be balanced, mind, body, and spirit, and healthier?
I would just say try and choose one 15-minute activity a day, whether it's put the phone away and just going for a walk, or whether it's going to be, I'm going to try the contrasting therapy at least 3 times a week, and just do those small, measurable goals. Because when you actually do them and then you see how they feel, then you're more inclined to start trying to keep doing them again and over and over. And then you just don't overwhelm yourself with things. So I try to at least do at night, put my legs up the wall. It's a Eldoa stretch L5S1, but it's really easy just to put your legs up the wall for 5 minutes. And then I do answer all my emails. That's my one time I get. And then I'm also make sure my phone is in line with my body when I'm lying down on the floor and I'm not doing this. So I just try to make sure that I do that every night. Um,
Good idea.
because I got out of the habit of doing it because I've been kind of traveling a little bit lately, and that's my only wall right now I have to do it. And there's a bed in here. So just making sure that you have one small thing you can do and just don't overwhelm yourself. Because when I get overwhelmed, I just stop everything. So that's
Right.
probably it.
Yeah, that's true. When you get overwhelmed, everything seems so overwhelming that you just freeze in place.
Yeah.
What do you do to ease your mind? What are some things that, like for me, I go to we're right by the ocean here on the East Coast. I
Hmm.
grew up near the ocean in New York, out east on Long Island. We're here in the southern New England coast. The ocean's here. The
Hmm.
ocean is a go-to place for me. I love nature. I love cycling. I love
Hmm.
tennis. Conversations, as you can tell, I love good, solid conversations. I love them. where we all learn something. We're almost finishing each other's sentences. And
Mhm,
also music. For me, music, I don't smoke, never have, but
mhm,
music for me is also a go-to. It's like my cigarette. The
mhm.
instruments, the sound, the flow, filling the house of music can sweep me away to a different time where I'm totally forgetting about the craziness of the day.
Mhm,
What are some things that, and I'm a Libra, so we crave balance and harmony. We
mhm.
have to have the balance and harmony. What are some things that you suggest to achieve the balance and to ease the mind? Of course, breathing is one of them.
Yeah, definitely. I try and do my breathing in the morning as well. Like sometimes it's just, oh crap, my alarm clock didn't go off and now I have to get the kids to school. So always making sure I go back to it and then like just giving myself the grace, especially like, we can all be very hard on ourselves. And like, I mean, I think the constant thing that I'm having to balance between is, all right, well, I'm a trainer. I should be example. I should always be doing these things. And I remember being so hard on myself, especially like in this world where we have to look a certain way if we're a trainer. And I'm like, no, like, I mean, that actually started making me go backwards. Like, I was so body focused and that my head was just way out of there. So just making sure that you give yourself the grace, and and yeah, that's probably the biggest thing for me is just giving yourself grace and allowing yourself to be human and mess up. And then trying to figure out, okay, well, what can I do to improve next time? It's like, okay, well, I won't have that second glass of wine, or just that small measurable thing to do, to be like, all right, I accomplished that, like I'm good. Sometimes it's hard to like even get outside in some areas of the world. So I would
Yes.
first, I would just say like, go find a new place to go, but or go outside and get in nature, but that's kind of hard to do. Again, Southern Cali girl, I'm very lucky to live where I do, but yeah, I would just say give yourself grace, probably, because we can all be very hard on ourselves.
Do you see another triathlon in the works for you?
Yeah, I was gonna do one in October, and then uh I got invited to I got invited to go on that bike race again. So I'm like, I haven't seen these guys in like 3 or 4 years. So I was like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think I want to redo the Arizona half.
Now that bike race is how long? How long do you go?
It's 620 miles, and the last time I saw anybody was 2017, and that's when I rode it. So it's from San Francisco to La Jolla.
You mean the ones that you saw last in 2017 are still doing it, trying to finish it?
No, right?
The last time I
So,
saw them was 2017. I haven't heard from them since.
right?
Th-
So,
They're in Nebraska by now.
well, there's another one I worked on that's actually 3,300 miles. So there's a
Ooh,
lot of bike races. They're all for charity. It's not necessarily a race or anything, but the first one's for the Challenge Athletes Foundation, and then the next one's right across America. It ends in Annapolis, Maryland. It starts in Oceanside, California, and they just normally pick a charity and then just raise money for that. And I go along and I be team mom, make sure they're eating their they're eating their peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, taking their salt pills, and their clothes are clean.
right. Maureen says change doesn't happen overnight.
No,
And she
no, it's
also says you got to start slow, which is very
never.
true, and work your
Yeah.
way. That's one thing that's actually before we go, that's very important.
Mhm.
Some people may watch this and say, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do 120% immediately. And
Yes.
they're coming from a point of sedentary where they hadn't been
Mhm.
doing that. Easing yourself in is the smart way to go, right?
Yeah, because I mean, you can easily look on Instagram and see these amazing, cool things like this workout. Like, oh yeah, totally, I could do that. Like even me, that like I was a collegiate athlete, and now I'm about to be 38, and I'm like, I can do that, but what's the point? Like, why would I want to enjoy movement, and if me like, I'm probably gonna hurt myself. Like, let's
Yeah.
be
No
honest.
need to put yourself at risk.
Yeah, basically. So it's just, what I think knowing the point or why you would want to do something helps a lot too. It's just like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. I don't
Exactly.
mean that in a bad way. It's just like you can go do all these crazy things, but like what's your motivation for
But
doing it? Like me,
yeah,
it's just I want to make sure that I'm healthy enough to run around and play with my kids all the way until I'm playing with my grandkids. So like,
right.
and just
Right.
making sure I'm not not going through life hurt and helping
Exactly.
helping other people as much as possible. Because if I'm not healthy, then I can't help other people.
That's
That's kind of
exactly
my
right.
mission.
As we have always talked about on this show, putting the oxygen mask on you first and then helping
Yeah.
others with it is so crucial and so important. This
Mhm.
was really cool. This was really, really cool. Thanks for all of these great tips, the great conversation, and all
Thank you.
these great ideas. This was really, really a pleasure and one of our lifestyle episodes of our Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. We like to do something different, all kinds of different topics, guests. This series is really all about life and connecting and engaging with one another and learning from one another. And you obviously absolutely love what you do. You're very passionate about it, aren't you, Christine?
Yeah, I mean, but why would you do something? I mean, any other way, like working for
Right.
the people versus working for myself, and like being able to do things the way I wanted to do it and help people the way I want to help them. Like,
That's beautiful stuff. Well, thanks for all the time. This was really, really cool. We really
thanks, guys,
enjoyed it.
everyone. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you
And
for having me on.
somebody here that's well, I hope the show met the expectations you might have had and you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you, Christine.
I had no idea. At first, I was like, I should prep, and I'm like, I don't know what I would be prepping for. So let's just have a conversation, like you said.
And I hope you enjoyed it. I
Yeah, you
certainly did. It was
did.
fantastic.
Mhm.
Fun show today.
Mhm.
Thank you, Christine. Come back
Thank you,
soon.
Jim. I will.
For those that are watching live, it's about 4:40 p.m. Eastern here. We're going to be back live at 8 p.m. Eastern with
Mhm.
another show. So we've got a quick dinner in between. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, live with actor Doug Shapiro, film, television, and stage actor. And he's a riot. We're going to have a good time tonight. Craig says, thank you, Christine, for making the time to be here with the Lovedies. Craig, thank you as well. And I hope you're feeling better, Craig, in Hawaii as well. And Maureen says, this was truly an amazing session in Lovety Hall. Thank you, Christine, for sharing your passion with us. You're truly the definition of lovety. Somebody that agrees is George Burns. There he is. and he enjoyed himself, and he said you knocked it out of the park, and he enjoyed. Sometimes he pops in towards the end and looking as dapper as he does.
And
This was
he enjoyed his cigars and his scotch all the way into the end too at 92.
see, it's
So
just like, yeah, and where
me too.
and some people, you have one grilled cheese sandwich and your cholesterol goes through the roof. It's
Mhm.
just like he yeah, 100, I think till 100 he
Oh,
made
100?
it.
Oh gosh, I forgot.
God, yeah.
Mhm.
This was interesting. Thanks, Jane in Sweden. You are very, very welcome.
Welcome.
Christine, again, spread the word about our show. We would
I
love
will.
that. If you know of other folks who think like to pop on, but truly, this was really a lot of fun. We learned a lot today, and I truly hope that
Mhm.
you enjoyed yourself. And we'll keep the porch light on for you. You're welcome back anytime. Okay.
Maybe the next year when I make my New Year's resolution to do my training, I'll do halfway through
Let's see if she kept it, right?
it. Right? Yeah.
That's it. Best of the holidays to you, Christine.
You
And
too.
really cool having you joining us and all the lovedies watching around the world. And we'll chat again soon. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right. Have a great holiday.
You too. Bye, Jim. Bye,
Bye bye now.
everyone.
Bye bye. Christine Ryan. Yes. Triathlete, therapist, massage therapist, recovery trainer. Well, lots of great tips for us, not just during the holiday season, but really any time. If you joined us late or missed anything, you can see the entire episode right here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. That's right. The whole episode is there. There's the website again, ocathleticmassage.com. And she has to scoot off because she's actually in the middle of a session that she's doing. So she had a little bit of a break in between, which worked out absolutely perfectly. That's so true. We say it all the time. Each day is a gift, a blessing, and an opportunity to inspire and to be inspired. Hashtag Masters Mantras, one of our famous masters mantras that we like to do here on the show. Again, if you did miss any part of this, we did not only have a great conversation and our usual levity and lovity, but also some great exercises, 10 of them. We gave you 10 things that you can do right now to sort of get into balance, start aiming for wellness, clarity, focus in your life, and also that leads to happiness and positivity. When you're physically, mentally, and spiritually feeling balanced and connected, plugged in, and well, then the happiness comes in. Sometimes people look at happiness as, okay, I'm going to eat this, drink this, do this thing, and that's going to be happy. But that's a temporary, like sugar high, and then you come down. These are some tips, some things in your everyday life that you can apply that will help you be more balanced in a very stressful and very crazy world. If anything about the last couple of years we have learned is that everything can change on a dime. Nothing is set in stone. There's no extended warranties on life. Here today, and maximize it, maximize it. We live that as Christine Ryan, our special guest, does as well. So this was, as we say, we do entertainment, we do talk, we do variety, we do a lot of different things. This was one of our lifestyle episodes as well. If you didn't see the episodes where we had Chef Christopher Prosperi on talking about getting through the holidays and tips for planning your holiday parties and meals and food, check that out. We also had from Lorimar Winery in Temecula, California. Mark was with us as well, you may remember, and that was an incredible episode, pairing different wines with your foods. Check that out, and so much more. Kathleen Walker in New York City says, thank you, Jim. Great show. See you later. Absolutely. We'll be back at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. For those watching live, if you're not watching live, stay right here on our YouTube channel, Gym Masters TV. Another episode of the Gym Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series is coming up just for you. And there's about 550 more from day one that you can go back and watch. Amazing guests, amazing guests. Great show. See everyone later. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate that. Juanita Mary's watching in Florida. Juanita in South Africa. This was great. Thank you, Jim. Another amazing guest. Thank you, Juanita. Yes, I'm big in variety, and I'm somebody who likes to plug into all different aspects of life. So again, hopefully these conversations, maybe put a different spin on things for you as they do for me and everybody else. And we really enjoy it. Jen says, see you tonight. We're going to laugh tonight. Doug is very funny. We had a good time with actor Doug Shapiro. He's all excited. He's been posting away. He's all excited. Jim, this was a great show with lots of information and tips on health and wellness. Thanks to Christine for sharing with us today. See you all later. From one Christine to the other. Thanks, Christine in North Carolina. Maureen says, yes, actually, if Christine is still watching, we usually say to the guests, now go stretch those legs. Get the circulation going. But she does that already, so I didn't need to tell her that because she already does it. Time to stretch our legs and feed our bellies. See you all in a couple of hours. Absolutely. Thank you very much. And everybody that's watching and all these great comments coming in for everybody. You're welcome, Sherry in Kansas. And she says, toodles, see you all in a few hours. Absolutely. And Craig, of course. Thank you, Jim, for inviting Christine Ryan on your show. It was an awesome show. Thank you, Craig. Appreciate that as well. And again, I hope you are feeling better. I hope you're feeling better. And Jen Barry, she's having bread with Miracle Whip, iceberg lettuce, smoked turkey sandwiches, and cranberry sauce for dinner tonight. Sounds delicious. Sounds delicious. Really, really nice. Again, a lot of people are finishing off their holiday leftovers too from Thanksgiving. And Jane says, see you all later. So we will see you on the 8 o'clock show. And Jen says, fun show today. Thank you, Christine. Come back soon. Absolutely. All right. And I hope anybody that's watching for the first time, I hope you'll come back soon. Check us out right here on our YouTube channel, Gym Masters TV. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, that helps us big time. We would love it. And make sure you click that notification bell so that way there you never miss a single episode of the Gym Masters Show Live series here on YouTube. And also give this episode a like. That's right. Click like. That's that thumbs up signal, that little icon you see on the YouTube channel next to this episode. Little up thumb looks like this. Give it a thumbs up because that really helps us. And leave a comment on our YouTube channel as well. I'm going to scoot off, have some dinner. And this was awesome. We thank all of you. And as we always say, we've got a little bit of a routine here. We say, don't forget to smile and don't forget to share the JMS Lovity. Help us grow, share the lovely, tell everybody you know about our series, share the links on your social media, spread the word about the Gym Masters Show Live. Find your Zen place. Mine, of course, loving family and friends is always number one. The ocean. We talked a lot about the ocean today. Go-to place for me, swimming, surfing, boogie boarding, sailing it, the whole bit. And my work in television, radio, stage, and film over the years also a Zen place for me as well. Yes. Look for me on PBS as well. We did a couple of specials with PBS that are airing in starting this weekend, actually. We were in the studios recording, and you can check out a couple of cool specials on PBS. Craig says, good night. Stay safe. Be healthy, lovedies. Till we meet again. We are back on in just a couple of hours, Craig. So if you stay right there and keep your laptop on, you'll see us in just a couple of hours with actor Doug Shapiro. That's right. Stick with us, Craig. We appreciate that. And Christine says, thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. Loved being a lovety for the day. We'll make her an annual, or no, not annual. We'll make her a perennial lovety, right? Not just for today. She'll be a lovety forever. Anybody that comes on this show as a guest is a lovety forever. You guys as well. No refunds on being a lovety. You're now a lovety forever, Christine. Absolutely. Gang, you're the best. We're going to scoot off, all right? Stomach is rumbling. You guys take care. We love you all. Back for those that are watching live, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, just about a couple of hours with another fun show. And boy, the guests that we have coming up, wow, I don't want to say anything because there's some really amazing people, but you can look at our YouTube channel and see some of the ones that are coming up next week. We've got some really cool people coming up. Yeah. And so much more. As long as you're there, we'll continue to be here on the Gym Master Show Live. Yes, once a lovety, always a lovety. And Jane says, you're a lovety forever. You got it. All right, gang. We love all of you. Thanks for being with us in this episode of JMS Live, the Gym Master Show Live. Really cool episode, and we learned something, and we had a good time. Laughs, entertainment, and all of you. We will see you soon, all right? For those watching live, we're back at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. For those who are watching this later on in the archives, stay right here on our YouTube channel, Gym Masters TV. There's lots of incredible episodes you can enjoy of our series, all here to entertain, inform, inspire, educate, and have a good time together and share life together. That's what we do on this Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host, Jim Masters. Thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, right here on the Gym Master Show Live. Be well, everybody. Take care of one another. We'll see you again soon. Cheers.